That's the billion dollar question here. It has changed so much even in the last 6 months. I would say that one of the biggest challenges that anyone in the streaming space, including my current clients, are facing is how do you more efficiently feed your content budget?
This is the Media Machine, where media, business, and innovation intersect. Hi, I'm Johanna Salazar, and I'll be your host as we examine the future of content, technology, and entertainment through the lens of 4 key pillars: process, profit, people, and planet. Hello, Media Machine viewers and listeners. In today's compilation episode, we've pulled together some of the most insightful recommendations from past guests on the tools, apps, and platforms they swear by. From creative design software and web building tools to e-commerce platforms, business essentials, and even the future of streaming, these are the brands and technologies shaping how creators, entrepreneurs, and media leaders work today. So whether you're looking for inspiration to launch your next big idea, streamline your business, or simply discover the apps industry insiders are using right now, this episode has you covered. Let's get into it. For those people that have never heard of Unity, tell us a little bit more about Unity.
Unity powers over 70% of AR experiences, but we didn't start in AR and VR. Unity is the software behind beginning with game development. It's a tool that brings to life mobile games for across multiple platforms. Indie games, big studio games, and that same technology used in games has now proliferated across various industries, and obviously with exciting new platforms to display this 3D or 2D digital technology on, there's just more and more applications for it every day. So we're quickly growing. There's amazing things happening from creators, and it's a fantastic platform to get started on if you're interested in creating these kind of experiences.
Tell us about Lovable.
Yeah, so Lovable.dev is a vibe coding tool, let's call it that, where you can create apps, or you can create websites. For example, I'm redoing my website and I'm doing it myself. I can write in text and be like, let's take this photo, get a circle outline, put it in the middle. No, I don't like it. Move it to the right and move it up higher. Okay, add this text here. Or what text do you think I should have here? Add this image, make this into a carousel. Like everything that you would want your website to be, now you can actually, using a tool like Lovable, create the website of your dreams. So yeah, using these tools, I think using that homework of going and creating this crazy idea, whatever it is. If it's a game, you're starting to have so many like text to world building tools. Roblox recently at TED actually demoed this thing where they were writing kind of like the prompt and it would create a 3D world. So like these things are starting to happen where the tools have never been easier.
Talk to us about Canva.
Canva is the most brilliant thing ever. I just went to Canva Create. I logged into the Zoom. They had this big sort of event that happened a couple of weeks ago where essentially I walked out going, okay, I can design and I can create anything in Canva. They're doing this whole like AI channel where you can like actually build things in tech, which I haven't embraced yet, but the possibility is so exciting. But you can design anything. You can do websites on Canva. I did my website on Canva. You can do presentations. I've been doing pitches for shows on Canva, so I can integrate animated graphics and videos and just make it really alive. And when I do that, I don't actually need a reel to represent the show because I can put the video in the deck. You can design mugs. You can design t-shirts. Plus, I've got like millions of different graphics and elements that you can integrate into your design so like if you need stars, you just look up animated stars and you'll get 50 million options for animated stars. So I think it's like just going in with the idea, any idea, and just play around with it and learn. And it's really just so user-friendly.
So you create all the designs on Canva.
Yeah. So for items like that I'm selling in my store, like the t-shirts and the yoga mats, I design them in Canva. I export and then I import into another platform called Printify, which is actually really interesting and I recommend. And Printify is drop shipping and print on demand, and they have a catalog of 900 or more items that you can design. So essentially, you create your design, you download the file, you upload it to Printify, you apply it to the yoga mats, and the yoga mats will print. But you can do that for everything. It's not just hats or clothing. They have skincare lines now and vitamins. And it's a really interesting way to expand your business in a very, very easy manner. And like Printify, for example, they have live webinars weekly or maybe multiple times a week to tell their audience or their users of Printify how to better design or promote, or what's really selling, like socks. Apparently are like a big business, like millions of dollars of socks are being sold every day, and what's really working, so that you can then, design and market the right items that have the potential to sell.
So you do Canva design, then Printify, then you go to Shopify?
Yes. So then when you publish your items to your stores, I have a TikTok store, I have Etsy, and I have my Shopify store. And so I publish to each one of those stores. But you can add more sales channels. You can add Amazon, you could add Target, you can add different sales channels into which you want your products to be in for very, very limited amount of money. It's incredible. It's just the only thing that is like expensive, quote unquote, is the time it takes to learn this. But once you start, it all just makes so much sense. And like I said, the platforms, they integrate so seamlessly and so easily, it makes so much sense. Whenever anything antiquated comes up, like a process that just doesn't make sense, I'm like thinking, no, there's such a better way to execute something that's just more efficient in time, just based on everything I've learned with, the e-com and the social of it all.
So you went and then you got your LLC?
Yeah, then I got the LLC. When I started putting together my business email and stuff, I went through one of the sites. Is it okay if I mention it here? Because I don't know sometimes.
Yeah.
I went on GoDaddy, but you know why I went on GoDaddy? So one of my producers, right, at MTV left, and he left to go work at GoDaddy, which was, websites, right? They create domains and all that. You can buy your domain off GoDaddy. So when I thought, where do I get a website? Automatically, I thought GoDaddy. So I did GoDaddy, and it was great because now those sites have like partnerships with other sites that can help you continue to get additional things that you need to create a small business. So I got my domain, I got my business email, and then I didn't do it right away because I started getting work. One day I was like, oh, now I have to get it because I have to do taxes. I was like, shit. So I went on LegalZoom. So through GoDaddy, they have like an add-on package, and you can go on LegalZoom, and on LegalZoom you can do your LLC, and it is quick. It is super, super quick. And I'll give another tip. I went and I chose the basic package, which means you pay $0, but then you only pay like the state fees for what they call articles of incorporation, right? It's whatever paperwork the state has to put in. If I knew back then what I know now, I would have gotten the upgraded package that's like $250, and you can talk to a lawyer and they'll put all the other things that you have to do after the LLC. Because when you create an LLC, you need to do those articles of incorporation, right? Which LegalZoom can do for you, and there's other sites too. But then you also have to to register with the New York State Tax Department, and then you have to get a business license, and then you have to put an ad out. You have to buy an ad in a publication or on a site or something to announce your company, which that's my next step. I haven't done that yet. I still have a little bit of time. So it is a whole process. It's not as bad as it sounds, but definitely great to use those online resources that make it easier. And it is worth the additional investment to get the upgraded package to just ensure that everything is done in one shot.
Talk to us a little bit about what tech is needed as a creator, and what sort of tools do you use often?
Sometimes I wish there was just one tech that does it all, right? But then we'd have like everyone competing for the same things. Some that would help with podcasting, for instance, is Opus Clips. It basically allows you to drop your URL link of your finished 1-hour podcast, and then you give it some time, and then they'll shoot out 25 clips already edited for you of moments where they've worked with the SEO AI algorithms that be to pull sound bites that have a high potential of going viral. And it does that within an hour. I mean, depends on if you pay for it, your free plan or your paid plan, but you have the ability to do that, bring in extra stock images, photos that are usable, And also, like, you can add captions any way that you like. I don't rely 100% on it. However, it is nice to like run it through Opus every now and then to see like if what I think would go viral or would be a great soundbite is also something that aligns with what AI has discovered already. So I had been working with a couple of remote editors before for my tech channel, but I wanted my first season to be a certain look. So since I already did a whole season, 11 episodes, I've edited everything how I wanted. I utilized DaVinci Resolve for my editing, coloring. Audio tech wise, I use the Rode USB microphones. Um, and then when I went on the field, I would use like the Tascam Portacapture X6 to record in the field because you don't need AC power. It just operates off of batteries. And then lighting, aperture. So I have so much tech involved.
And you signed a deal with Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that. How did that come about? And why? Why Netflix?
One of my, strategically speaking, my end goal is the moon. Not I feel like I'm really aiming high here.
Aiming for the moon here.
I'm aiming for the moon here. But really, I'm looking at it like from a technological perspective. I'm looking at streaming tech. I'm looking at like big picture, right? And okay, what do we need to get there? Like we can't do this alone, And so it's working with colleagues. I'm in the Streaming Video Technical Alliance, which is like, a bunch, it's a group, it's top engineers from all the streaming platforms. It's really coming together to make sure that we can pull this off, and the only way we can pull it off is leveraging the private sector and distribution. So we don't break the internet, because that can happen. We've done it before. NASA has been streaming for a very long time.
I feel like they're always trying to break the internet. I feel like Netflix and Amazon are always trying to break the internet.
And Netflix, and Netflix has, they can do it. They can hang, and it's been an incredible honor. I mean, it's more of a technological, partnership. It's like, again, we share our feed with everyone. So it's no different than putting our feed on YouTube or on Amazon, right? We just had to have an agreement to do so on their side. But same agreement we use for Amazon Prime. And, but yeah, that's kind of why, right? And getting into the, groove of working with, Netflix and the Amazon Primes to make sure we just can get our stuff out there to third parties and continue that drumbeat towards the moon. So it's more of a technological move, I would say. I just think it's important for people to see NASA, to be able to access NASA.
And when does it start?
We haven't announced a set broadcast, but it'll be very soon.
What do you think, or how do you envision the future of ad monetization?
That's the $1 million, $1 billion question here. It has changed so much even in the last 6 months. I would say that one of the biggest challenges that anyone in the streaming space, including my current clients, are facing is how do you more efficiently feed your content budget? So content is increasingly more and more expensive. Sports fees have gone through the roof. They're kind of a necessity for most streamers because you need that every single day thing versus, wow, I love White Lotus. I watched all of it. Now what do I do? So the sports provide that constant thing. One of the things that I'm really excited about is how companies like Mountain, which is basically looking at taking the efficiency of social and search and applying it to streaming television so that the ads that you see are different from the ads that I see, and you can track back performance, like did you sell more pizzas? Did more people buy more cars? Those type of companies that allow the media companies to be more efficient in every single one of their ads, then the clients are willing to pay more for them, and then you can afford the diet you need to have to sustain your audience. It's a long answer to your simple question, which is A, overall expense of streaming has gone up significantly, mostly on the back of sports. B, the way that the media companies recoup those costs has to be with a more nuanced and efficient approach to monetization and ad sales specifically.
Did you guys do anything on like with TikTok retail and all that stuff?
And all of my different corporate jobs have dabbled in commerce. And it's interesting because so much of it depends on the ease of use. And so what's nice about some of the social platforms, including TikTok, is that you're just able to start clicking and buying things. Where it becomes tricky is when companies think that it's okay to have you do 4 or 5 steps to actually buy something. As we get more and more into a mobile society, which I'm a huge fan of mobile streaming and mobile viewing, and it's because I lived and worked a lot in Latin America and where that's just the norm. The mobile device by design allows for a lot more commerce. So I think you're going to see as the youth are no longer our youth, but are actually the mainstream, and that marketplace is so incredibly connected with their phone. We're just going to see commerce continue to surge. And it's something that it's a generational gap. The people that are my peers that did not live and work in Latin America or in other international markets where mobile is so prevalent, they don't get it. Weirdly, they don't look at their own kids, but they're not getting it. So the commerce element, I think, is going to be quite accelerated thanks to mobile.
You've said that YouTube is every media company's biggest competitor, yet many executives still don't get it. Why do they not get it? Why are legacy media companies continuing to underestimate YouTube?
There is this fear of finding out. There is this ignorance to the data that's staring them in the face. And when you tell people that YouTube is the #1 channel on TV, they look surprised, despite the fact that the Gauge puts that out there on a monthly basis now, right? And there's tons of other data that demonstrate this. The #1 channel on TV. There are 1 billion hours of YouTube watched on television every single day, just on TV, not on all devices. The other thing I would say about that is they're not only your biggest competitor, but they're also your new broadcast partner. They are your new Comcast. They are your new Sky. So if you look at the case study we put out recently on our podcast, The Media Odyssey, you can see that Channel 4 leaned heavily into long-form premium television series on YouTube, saw their YouTube viewership go up 100%, saw their YouTube revenue go up 80%, and it was entirely additive audiences, people under the age of 35. And so it isn't just that they're your biggest competitor, it's also that if you choose, you can actually ride their wave. By the way, this is also true of Facebook, and this is also true of other platforms as well. And TikTok is an amazing marketing platform. The ignorance, the chosen ignorance that the big corporate media outlets enact and continue to follow is part and parcel with this generational, war over mindsets and culture internally. There are very few executives under the age of 40 in the room when these decisions are made. And if there are people there advocating for leaning into social video as a part of the ongoing strategy, they're ignored and they're made fun of. And this has been true at almost every major media company where I've had the conversations. And then you get leaders like those at CBC and those at Channel 4 who do actually understand that this is urgent now. And they test and they learn and then they succeed.
What are your platforms, priority platforms?
My priority platforms right now are Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I have a pretty nice following on TikTok, but I haven't used it in the way that I feel like I need to. I feel like TikTok is a space where I can be more real. Instagram has been very picture perfect, a little fake, because everybody's just thinking about their aesthetics of how it looks like on their page. And sometimes if a post says 5 likes or whatever, they'll delete it. And I don't like that either. So for me, Instagram is more of a visual business card and a portfolio for me. And that helps because it kind of just helps sells you when other brands come across your page, or if you leave a comment on somebody else and somebody else clicks your name, they see what you do and then they want to work with you. So, I mean, just case in point, I think that's how my gig with Disney and Samsung came about, because I posted and I used the hashtags at the time. They say nowadays not to use hashtags, but at the time I was using the hashtag representation matters, or Asian American host, or inclusion and diversity. And I was able to host the world premiere red carpet on behalf of Disney for Turning Red. And that was such a cool moment because I think they saw that over time on all my profiles that I've been covering the Asian American diaspora for the longest time. And Turning Red is the first Pixar Disney movie to be directed by an Asian woman. And the whole cast is voiced by, Asian Americans. So it felt very aligned with me. And I felt like that was one of the reasons why they reached out to me to be their host. And then Samsung was cool because I don't know how they found me in a way, but, being one of the few women at the time in 2018 to post with camera gear and showing my filming stuff, they were searching for 4 diverse creators who could film a 3-minute documentary utilizing their phone. And they reached out, and that was like a cool paid opportunity. Got on Pop Sugar and a film festival. And it was like, I didn't do anything. I didn't reach out. But I bet you they saw my portfolio on Instagram. So I would say use Instagram as your visual business portfolio. It's the best way to reach out. Even when you go to trade shows like NAB Show, they always want to ask you for your Instagram. Because businesses are on there too. And then YouTube is great because it's long form content, stuff like that. But it's not like you DM businesses on YouTube. Not every brand or business has a YouTube page. But most brands and businesses will have a website. And if you scroll to the bottom, you see where they're connected. And 90% of the time they have Instagram. So if you want to get into that area where you want to get paid content eventually or have sponsorship paid brand partnerships with, I would invest time in Instagram solely for that DM, one-on-one interaction brand connection.
That wraps our compilation of tools, brands, and platforms that our guests recommend to stay ahead in today's media and tech landscape. We hope you discovered something new to explore and maybe even a tool that will spark your next project. Next week, we'll be dropping our compilation episode on the first of our 4 pillars, process, the strategies, tools, and systems shaping media production and distribution. Thanks for listening to our show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us at The Media Machine Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. The Media Machine is hosted by Johanna Salazar. Our producers are Mia Vinciguerra and Johanna Salazar. This episode was edited by Adriana Saravia. This episode features music from Envato Elements. Thanks for listening.